On today's episode of the Weekly Monster Truck Podcast, join Zach Romig, Ryan Zielsdorf, and I as we discuss the latest in the monster truck world.
So strap yourselves in.
Mash that loud pedal.
And get ready!
Because it's time to jam!
Because it's time to jam!
Because it's time to jam! Hello and welcome back to the Weekly Monster Truck Podcast. Hi again, everyone. I am Jackson, also known as Monster Jam Historian. You can follow my social media at Monster Jam Historian on Instagram and Monster Jam Historian on YouTube. Welcome back, guys. It's 2021. It's a new year, and we're starting off well with another podcast. We have an amazing set of guests. We have Ryan Zielsdorf and Zach Romig. Guys, please introduce yourselves.
What's up, guys? You already know Ryan back up in the booth, and we're getting ready to do another podcast.
There we go, Ryan. It's great to meet you, Jackson. It's nice to see you, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Zach Romig. Some of you may have seen me formerly known as Dropsilver0 on YouTube. Guys, here we are together with the Monster Jam historian, Ryan. This is an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for having me on here.
Anytime, and I'm looking forward to talking about all the latest in monster trucks. There's been a lot of stuff that's been happening over the Christmas break and the first weekend of January, and actually the first weekend of monster trucks, so I'm going to jump straight into it. Let's start off with, there's a lot of Spin Master stuff. For those who haven't been checking Instagram, the yearbook has recently come out. And there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. So first off, let's talk about the Superstore exclusive truck. Now, obviously, there's usually ones every month or so, every few months. And there's going to be another Superstore truck. I haven't really seen much of it. I think there was a tease that a Monster Jam OCD posted quite a while ago. If I find one, I'll put it up on the screen for those who are watching on YouTube. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation around what it is. I've seen a little bit. I don't quite remember it too much. I think it's a slight recolor of what was supposed to be the 2020 stunt truck, for those who remember. I really haven't seen, again, it's been a while since I've looked at it, but I'm really intrigued to find out what it is. But I want to hear your thoughts. Zach and Ryan, what do you guys think of the Superstore exclusive truck for 2021?
Well, you know, honestly, I like to call this truck the to be determined truck. We're not necessarily certain as to what it's going to be. We're not even certain as to when it comes out. I believe these trucks come out once every quarter for Spin Master. And honestly, I'm very excited to see what it is. I'm very excited because Spin Master has been known to put out some really good quality products. All their trucks, are they all the best? Not necessarily. However, if you were to have that debate between Spin Master and Hot Wheels, I'd say Spin Master would win just based off of quality. I think it's definitely quality over quantity in terms of Hot Wheels and Spin Masters. But anyways, I'm sidetracking a little bit. I do this a lot, so get used to this one, viewers. What this truck's going to be, I'm not sure, but I'm very excited to see.
I think it's going to be really important for Spin Master and Monster Jam to be kicking out these trucks as often as they can, because as of right now, at least where I am and most of the United States right now, we're still in lockdown. So, well, a majority of us are still in lockdown for what we can be. So kicking out these trucks and having the kids be able to stay at home and play with these trucks and have Monster Jam still be bringing in a decent amount of money so we can stay afloat and get shows back going again. I think it's going to be really important to get this brought out so everybody knows, so they can go buy it and then keep these lines coming so Monster Jam can keep bringing in more money.
Absolutely, Ryan. You brought up a great point, and yeah, I'm really excited to see what this truck is, and hopefully it will be introduced soon, and you know that I'll be posting about it not just on my Instagram, but when it eventually comes out later on. But more importantly, the thing that I'm more excited for is Mix 16. So for those who aren't quite aware of how Spin Master works, they have, I guess you could say, cases of trucks for the 164 line, and the 164 line has been shown off. It was actually, we knew of, I think, 3 trucks that Monster Jam OCD posted, and then with the yearbook coming out, we saw all of the trucks on there, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, because that was really exciting. But also, in addition to that, Target actually posted Mix 16 on their website. So they showed off all the trucks you're able to find in that set. And I'm going to read off a couple of my favorites. And for those watching on YouTube, I'll definitely be posting screenshots so you can have a look. So, one of them is Kraken, which is insane for those who have seen it. It is beautiful. The amount of detail that is on the truck. For those who saw Wolf's Head last year, the incredible amount of detail in the truck was just insane. It was like they took the render from Star Creations. In fact, I think they did this, or something similar to it. They took the render from Star Creations and then molded it with the decals and everything into a die-cast truck. And considering, too, that this isn't like a 124 scale where it's fairly big, you know, because obviously with bigger trucks, you can get more detail because you're able to get things. But it's like as big as this mouse here, if not bigger. Definitely didn't do that on the fly. Anyway, point is, this Kraken has an insane amount of detail, along with the Saigon Shaker truck, which is just known as Shaker. I think they had a bit of licensing issues with calling it Saigon Shaker, so the name is just Shaker. But everything else on the truck is accurate. The paint color, the name, the logo, everything, it is absolutely amazing. One of them I'm looking forward to. Gravedigger fans should also be looking forward to this, especially with the 39th anniversary for Gravedigger, leading into the 40th anniversary for next year, is the Gravedigger 30th anniversary purple design. Now, Hot Wheels has done these before, and we saw that Hot Wheels did a 30th green anniversary design. That was for the 124 scale. Now they're doing this with the 164 line, and this truck is incredible. I love the detail, the attention to detail. It is absolutely beautiful. There's also the Boneyard Mohawk Warrior, which is splendid. They didn't just do, I thought the Boneyard trucks were a bit kind of They were a unique concept where they had like bones form the chassis, but with this, not only did they do that, which is a signature part of the truck, they also did a bone Mohawk and a bone Mohawk Warrior dude on the side of the truck. So they really went all out with this truck. It looks absolutely splendid. I really like it. And then, of course, is the one that everyone's talking about, the Gravedigger Showtime truck. The Showtime trucks are the chase pieces for 2021. They are essentially your normal standard monster truck, but they actually have painted shocks, bead locks, and what else is there? The motor's painted as well, so it's like a custom, but actually produced by Spin Master. And Gravedigger is the first one. And guys, they're going to be incredibly hard to find, and especially for adult collectors, they are really going to like these. Now, sure, people have argued that customizers or people that do these things could easily whip up one, and that is very true. But at the same time, a company is doing this. Hot Wheels never did this to this extent, not even on their 124s. We started seeing this with the 124 scale Spin Master trucks, but to see them do this level of detail on a 164 is insane. And finally, I've been going on for a little bit, but the other truck is Monster Mutt. What's so special about it? Well, the ears are fixed. The ears are actually molded down onto the mold. It looks really, really, really nice. For the first time, an accurate-looking Monster Mutt. So again, I've talked for a while. I'm leaving it up to you guys now to talk about what you think of the main trucks, the exciting trucks that I mentioned for Mix 16 for 2021.
Firstly, could I just mention that we're all a bunch of adults here getting really excited over a kid's toy?
You're not
Let me just
wrong.
be honest. No, not at all. And secondly, Jackson, I know you were trying to make a decent size comparison. Well, here, I'm not sure if you really have this in Australia, but here in America, we have these. This is Hot Wheels Oscar Mayer Wiener Monster Truck. This is just the first truck I happen to have lying around. I know the camera lighting's not really the best, but that's really the size comparison that we're looking at here. So, yeah, I will give you that. Uh, a good line, yes, it's a very solid line. Nice trucks, especially Kraken and Saigon Shaker. However, I got to introduce something here that hasn't been brought to the table yet. 2021 is having this feature as well with all monster trucks where they've introduced a wheelie bar. That's right, a wheelie bar. So if you've ever wanted to get your monster trucks to pop a nice wheelie or do a nice moonwalk, even a nose stoppy as they call it, you could finally do that. And the potential for stop motion monster truck creators is big because they've never necessarily had that freedom before. I don't know how well it's going to look, especially since most people tend to use like chicken wire. Um, and that's personally my preferred style, but it's going to be very big because now it could be something cheaper. It's a good alternative, especially for people, especially for younger kids. They're just looking for something new to play with, something to have fun with. And, I feel as if the wheelie bar is really going to be very helpful for that. But before I end off this little segment here, I do want to bring up something that is controversial, and that is the chase piece. Yes, the chase piece is very nice. Very nice. It's going to be so good for custom designers to finally just sort of have that freedom in there and to have that more level of detail and decal on everything. It's going to be great. However, it's been a bit of a letdown as well, based off of reviews and comments that I've heard and seen. Not everyone's necessarily happy about this. I've seen a lot of disappointed faces, and I'm not going to knock on it personally. I'm going to remain sort of on a neutral point here. But a lot of people have been very let down, and they've been expecting something big. Like in 2019, we got the training trucks. 2020, we got the ride trucks, which was a big feature. But 2021, we're just getting these little decals on these trucks and just a little bit of extra detail, which isn't bad, but it could also be a bit better, in my opinion. I know I just said I'd remain neutral. However, I've changed my mind.
I do like the. Oh, sorry to cut you off, Ryan. I do like the constructive criticism that you giving Zach. Yes, a lot of people are a bit bummed about it. A few people, mainly the adult collectors, and that's totally okay. I'm not, you're allowed to think what you want to think about these trucks. But I think for people like me who don't necessarily customize their trucks, especially the Spin Master trucks, I used to customize my Hot Wheels trucks. Now I don't do that with my Spin Masters, but it's good for me because I like that level of detail. And honestly, again, it's just a matter of who likes what. And one last thing before I hand it over to Ryan, I really like the wheelie bars. The point that you brought up, I completely forgot about that. That accessory is pretty unique. If I'm going to be honest, the accessories kind of went down. The 2019 one, I really like the figures. They're also good for my cabinet, which you'll see hopefully in future episodes when I fix my setup at my dad's house. But in addition to that, so the 2019 ones were pretty solid. The 2020 ones, I'm going to be honest, the wristbands were a bit of a letdown for me. I wasn't a fan of them. I didn't quite like them too much. But the 2021 accessories are very unique. I like that creativity, and it's showing. It's really showing. They showed it with the dirty to clean trucks that I talked about in the previous episode, or actually 2 episodes ago, and now they're doing it with the wheelie bars. But enough of me rambling. I'm gonna give it over to Ryan to talk about what he thinks about all of these things.
I feel like there is a lot that has been good, but kind of like what you have touched on, it wasn't to the level of what I thought we were going to do. You could add paint schemes, you could add dirt on wheels, you could add whatever you want to all these Feld trucks that they already have, trucks, stuff like that. And I always get excited when they bring the independents. So when you got Kraken and Shaker coming out with Saigon Shaker, but I'm that's what I look forward to most, is I'm like, oh, I can finally have these independent trucks that I used to try to create, and I would take the bodies off and I would try to make these independents on these Feld bodies that they would put out back when they had Hot Wheels. And I'm excited to see, like, I remember when Wildflower came out, I was excited. I was like, oh my gosh, like, that's another independent that I can collect. But now we got Kraken, Saigon, and I'm sure many more to come. But yeah, this new turn that we have adding independents, I'm really, really liking it.
My favorite independent monster truck is a Gravedigger.
Very,
Gravedigger.
very,
Yeah.
very, very nice insight, Zach. Well, one of the
Gravedigger.
one of the other things I'm looking forward to was revealed in the yearbook. It is the new theme. Now, for those who haven't been following along, with Spin Master recently, firstly, what are you doing? I'm kidding. But more importantly, they started out 2019 with the Fire and Ice trucks, a very, very liked theme. I loved it personally. A few people were a bit bummed about them, considering there wasn't much difference in terms of how the trucks looked. In terms of like everything else, I mean, like the rims and the chassis and stuff. Obviously, the designs were different. Me personally, I didn't mind it. I loved it. It was so cool. And then to see the Fire and Ice trucks come to life was even better. 2020 had these zombie versus hunter trucks. I liked those. They were really cool. Really nice design trucks, but honestly, Monster Jam OCD's been hyping this up. Ryan, Albin, for those who don't know his name. And honestly, I am not surprised. I've given Ryan and Zach a screenshot so they can have a look at it, and I'll definitely put a screenshot up on the screen. The Gears and Galaxies trucks is the new theme for 2021, and these trucks are beautiful. I don't know how they came up with this, but this is just insane. The Galaxies and the Gears, I mean, I don't even know. It's something I never would have thought of, I never would have asked for, yet I want it. You know, it's pretty impressive when a company makes something you've never asked for, you've never wanted, up until they make it. They made it just because. And now they're putting it out for us to collect. I love these trucks. So far, we've seen Soldier Fortune, Max D, Megalodon, El Toro Loco. I think that's Zombie. Yes, that's Zombie. Pirate's Curse, Soldier Fortune, and Earthshaker. I don't even know what to say. The designs look so nice. The blue and the white on Max D. Oh, man. And the tires. I mean, look at the tires, guys. Look at the detail. That is just nuts. And the Galaxies trucks. I mean, oh, man. I'm looking at Megalodon now, which is why I'm looking over to this side. No, this side. This side. Sorry, I don't know. It's reversed on here. Anyway, that's not important. I mean, the detail on these trucks. Oh, my lord. It is insane. I love this theme. And it's a bit of a shame I don't think we'll see them in real life for 2021. But more importantly, I'm interested to know, what do you guys think? What do you think of the Gears and Galaxies trucks for 2021?
Honestly, they look incredible, just to put it the least. They're very nice, very detailed. I definitely like how we have this whole like white and gold versus black and blue theme. It's like an introvert of each other's color. And it's so nice. It's very nice to get some. I'm trying to think of the word here, so pardon me on that. But it's nice that we're getting something innovative. You know, as you were putting it out, we wouldn't have ever asked for this. This is something that we couldn't have think of. So we do have to give all the credit to the creative team over at Spin Master. They've been doing such a wonderful job with these type of trucks, and it's gonna be nice. I think we were, and I could be very mistaken about this. I feel as if we were supposed to get the Zombie versus Hunter series. I would have loved to see it in real life. However, that didn't happen, unfortunately, due to the pandemic that has been going around, and Monster Jam having to cancel their season just a little bit early. But if 2021 works and if things start getting back to normal and if everything goes back to normal, as I've said, I'd love to see this come to life. Is it a little bit cartoonish for me personally? Yes. However, the detail and everything just in that sense makes up for it. And they're very beautiful looking trucks. And I'm very excited to see what Spin Master can come up with for the future years.
I mean, being a fan of Monster Jam for so long, you get used to, I wouldn't say disappointments, but you can never really tell whether something is as good as they say it is until you actually have it. So you can have graphics, you can edit it all you want. You can say, "Hey, this is what we're going to do," but then when they put it out to the table, it's not as good. So this I think is a really great idea. The Gears of the Galaxy, it's something that like you said I would have never thought to do, but I have no idea what it's going to look like until I have it in my hands. This could be something that could be a complete bust. This could be one of the worst things they've done, or this could be just the next great idea that's competing with Fire and Ice. It's going to be interesting to see once they release it and put it out, and we can actually see it for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Very interesting perspective. Sorry to cut you off, Jackson. That's a very interesting perspective, Ryan. Remaining a little bit cautiously optimistic. I like that. I do, but if I may ask, just speaking personally for a minute, why do you feel that way?
I don't know. It's just something that I've always like when Jurassic Attack, for example, for more recent news, when they released that truck, I was like, "Oh my gosh, Jurassic Attack coming back. Let's go. My childhood is coming like to now my adult self." And I saw the picture of it and I was like, "Is this really what we're going to do? We're going to make it a robot dinosaur. This cannot be happening." I see it for the first time this past weekend. Beautiful. I love it. It looks so good. It's one of those things
Great.
that it's either a bust or it's really good, and you never really know what it's going to be until you see it in person.
I agree. I like that. I like that. Very interesting. Very interesting.
And I do like your perspective too, because obviously there's a lot of design changes in terms of how it looks in the photo and how it looks when, again, as you said, when we get it in our hands. So again, you bring up a good point, Ryan and Zach. We really got to wait to see how it looks in real life. In my personal opinion, I love it from the get-go, and I am very optimistic on how the end product looks in real life. Now, that is the end for the Spin Master news. We are still going with the news itself, and one thing I wanted to bring up is that San Antonio, which should have been on, I believe it would have been this week, not this weekend, actually, yes, this weekend, I believe. San Antonio has been postponed to July. A bit sucky, yes, that we miss out on a weekend of Monster Jam, but again, if it means this is my take on it. If it means that we are able to get more Monster Jam shows and that Monster Jam is sticking to the law and what the government of Texas and all the other states say, and if that means that we can get more shows because they're listening to those governments, then I'm fine with it. If as long as it's something that they would have to do, considering this is now primarily kids entertainment. I think it's important that they abide to these rules and things, because obviously that would be kind of illegal, but they've been doing a good job at it so far. Yes, it sucks that there's not going to be a show this weekend in San Antonio, but I am very optimistic to see what happens, and considering that Houston is only 2 or 3 weekends away, it's not a long wait. Yeah, it's probably longer than we want to, but honestly, I'm excited for it. If you guys have anything to add on about San Antonio being postponed, the floor is yours.
I mean, honestly, although yes, it is very disappointing. I'm very disappointed. I would have loved to seen a show. I know people that have already gone out or that have already booked plane tickets to fly out there. However, you got to do what you have to do. You have to follow the government. You have to and I'm not, we're going to get a little political here for a second, but you do have to follow the government. You have to follow their rules. And if by, safety guidelines, they have to cancel the show, they got to cancel the show. I'm sure they wouldn't have wanted to. And like you've mentioned, this is primarily a kids' entertainment show. So Feld being a company that surrounds their product, I suppose, by children's entertainment, I think they made the right call by postponing the show at least just until July. And I know it's going to be a big 6 month, 7 month wait, and it's not what anyone wants to do. But like you mentioned, Houston is just a couple of weeks away, and it's not going to be too terribly long of a wait.
I mean, my original thought when I heard it was, oh, great. Like, now we're not going to have any Monster Jam because next is Houston. They're going to announce Houston coming up soon. I know I like to stay positive, but I have this feeling inside that it's just a waiting game to see what's going to happen.
I get you.
Yeah, with it still being in Texas, I feel like they were just like, okay, based on our last results, on the outlook of it being how close San Antonio is going to be, we're not going to travel out there. We're not going to put the people at risk. And I honestly think it's a waiting game for Houston right now. If the numbers go down, I think that they'll have a show. But I'm scared that we're going to have to wait and we're just going to continue pushing it back, which is not where we want to go. But if it helps us get shows back and tours started going back sooner, I'm all for it.
I agree.
Absolutely. And now we get into the last news story of this episode. It's a bit of a sucky one, but it is important to talk about. So, Joe Uri, Scott Buteau, Becky McDonough, and Lindsay Wink have announced they will not be competing in 2021. Now, I do want to clarify some things because there's been a bit of misinformation, just a little bit. Joe Uri has announced that he is entirely not competing in Monster Trucks or Monster Jam just in general. So he has unfortunately left the sport, and that to me really sucks because I like Joe Uri as a driver. Becky McDonough has kind of had the same way. She's announced that she won't be driving in Monster Jam for a period of time, and that to me also really sucks, especially considering I've seen Becky, I believe, 3 times. 3 times. And she was a fantastic driver, and from the moment that she started driving Dragon's Breath all those years ago till driving El Toro Loco now, she has been a fantastic competitor. She still is, but she is just an amazing driver with so much talent, and I was really looking forward to seeing her compete more, but obviously, maybe she has plans with her it could be for a multitude of reasons. I don't want to label it down to just one thing, especially if that one thing is completely wrong. But all I will say is for Becky, I wish her, and Joe, I should say, before I get into Scott and Lindsay, that I wish them the very best in their future. And I hope, as unlikely as it might be, if they come back to drive Monster Trucks or Monster Jam, obviously I welcome them with open arms. If they don't, I wish them the very best in their future endeavors and a happy and healthy time from driving Monster Trucks. And also, talking about Lindsay Wink and Scott Buteau, they have announced that they won't be driving in Monster Jam for 2021. There's been theories around about mainly Scott Buteau moving to Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live. I think, in my opinion, it's more of a coincidence than a rumor. I mean, I would see him doing what Cody Saucier has been doing and working for an independent team rather than working for a specific company. I just find it a coincidence that, well, he used to be the driver of Hot Wheels for a few years. It would be a funny coincidence if he went to drive for the Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live circuit. that's my take on it. You take away what you think. If you want to believe that he's going to drive for Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live, be my guest. That is your opinion, and you're entitled to it. And finally, Lindsey Wink, the one that I am so bummed about. Lindsey, it would have been this year if Lucas Oil had have kept their contract up. That Lindsey, it would have been 11 years. Sorry, not 11. My apologies. 10 years of the Lucas Oil Crusader. A decade long of the Crusader because it debuted back in 2011. And that's really unfortunate. But Lindsey's a great driver. He actually did say, let me clarify what I said earlier, that the Lucas Oil Crusader itself, the truck, is not competing in 2021. Which does leave the door open for him to drive another Feld truck. But considering the yearbook has come out and I've looked through the pages, there's lots of blank trucks. There is a chance he could be driving one of those trucks that doesn't have a driver next to it. But considering he isn't listed anywhere, I highly doubt it's going to be a thing. But nonetheless, same thing that I said with Becky and Becky and Joe, Lindsey and Scott. If you guys are driving something for this year, I really hope it comes to be, and I cannot wait to see you guys back out on the track. And if it's the end for now, as in if you're stepping away from monster trucks, all the best to you guys, to your future endeavors. It sucks to see you guys go. And now again, I do want to clarify, they have not announced their retirement. They're just saying they're not driving for this year. Handing it over to you guys as I've rambled on for quite some time. What do you guys think of the recent news about Joe, Becky, Scott, and Lindsey?
Well, firstly, there's just a couple things I want to bring up. Firstly, yes, you're correct. I also want to wish the best of luck in their future endeavors, specifically to Joey and Becky. Scott, that's a bit of a push. Lindsey, however, I don't think is going to be leaving Monster Jam. I think Lindsey is going to be staying in one of the sponsored trucks, maybe, or driving one of those blank trucks. I feel as if Lindsey Wink is too much of an asset for Feld, too much of an asset for Monster Jam in particular, and I really feel as if they won't let him go just yet. I feel Lindsey's got a few more things he could pull out of the tank, and Lindsey really could throw down. Now, Scott, yeah, I do actually wish the best of luck in his future endeavors because he isn't going to be competing for Monster Jam. Scott has confirmed that he will not be driving for Monster Jam, and that's very heartbreaking. Scott, I feel as if could have really thrown down a nice run, a nice solid run, and he could have done so much more than what they've let him do. But that I feel is a discussion for another day. Becky and Joe. Joe, really a fitness guy, big muscle guy, driver of the El Toro Loco on the Arena Series. Joe really did good. He was a phenomenal driver there. He didn't really get to do too much, but, he was really an up-and-comer, and he had a lot of potential for him. But Becky, I don't think this is going to be the end for Becky. See, Becky has Donald Epidendio, the driver of Titan, and I just feel as if, with Becky and Donald, they're going to be doing stuff together. They're going to make, another truck. And I really feel as if we'd see Becky run in a Titan truck. Not a Titan name truck, but definitely a Donald Epidendio truck. I don't know. I've not heard rumors, but I've seen comments of people saying that they would like to see a Miss Titan truck. That would be an interesting concept to me. I don't know if I'd want to see a Miss Titan truck. I'd like to see Becky drive something that's more of her personality, more of her style. I want to see Becky drive whatever Becky wants to drive. Either way, I do wish the best of luck to all of them. Best of luck in their future endeavors, and I really hope to see that everyone's turning out okay. I know Becky's gonna be all right. She's got a business as well on top of everything, so Becky, I think she'll be okay. But I just want to wish the best of luck to everyone in their future endeavors.
I mean, I feel like Lindsay's not going anywhere at all. I think Monster Jam right now is trying to find drivers that can lay down consistent runs, put on a show, and not break as much equipment as possible. Trying to save that money. And Lindsay, I think if you were going to go out and name one driver that could go out, burn it down, and park it, put it in the trailer, and drive it off, Lindsay's your guy. So
John Seesaw.
yeah, yeah. I truly feel like Lindsay was just placed in a position where they were waiting on that Lucas Oil sponsorship, and they're waiting for the answer. Are you going to resign with us? What's the plan? And then they decided not to, so they're like, okay, Lindsay, we're going to have to put you on hold for now. And I truly think that's all it is. Lindsay, I don't think is going anywhere. These other drivers, it was really hard to just listen to these drivers that you've looked up to your whole life just walk away. And I'm sure this won't be the last of them. I could really see Scott driving, like you said, for an independent team, or quite possibly coming back to Monster Jam, but not to drive, but to be a part of the staff for Feld Entertainment. Because in my personal opinion, I may have a lot of disagreement on this, but I feel like Scott was kind of starting to wash away in his driving abilities, because I felt that Scott never perfected that two-wheel skills aspect of his game. And then he really dove deep into the backflip category of Monster Jam when that was becoming a big thing. And then now that backflips are almost a must in runs, the special aspect of it is going away. And I feel like Scott just started fading into the middle of the pack, and he wasn't such a standout. He was just a good voice and a good character for Monster Jam. And so I hate to see him go, but I feel like talent-wise, it wasn't a super huge loss. I feel like as of right now, we haven't lost anybody super big, but I hold my breath every morning. I wake up, I check my phone, go to Instagram, and I pray that I'm not seeing a retirement post from any of these drivers.
Absolutely, and there is something that you did talk about that I wanted to bring up, is that I hate saying this about drivers, because I feel like either it comes across as either I don't like them, I'm hating on them, or I just have fallen out of touch with them. That is not the case. What I'm about to say about Scott is just my personal opinion. I love the guy to death. I've seen him drive twice in my hometown in Brisbane, Australia, and he was fantastic those 2 times that he was there. He is a fantastic driver. But Ryan, I agree with you, man. I feel like what's been happening in recent years is when he lost that contract with Hot Wheels and he started driving El Toro Loco, I don't want to say skill level, but kind of like you said, his finesse, his special, aspect of his driving style kind of just washed away. With Hot Wheel, and another thing that goes with that was the identity. When you thought of Hot Wheels, the Hot Wheels truck, you thought of Scott Buteau. You didn't think of anyone else, because Scott Buteau had been driving the truck for the longest, and in terms of recent years, Scott was the only driver of Hot Wheels. That, to me, it gives off that central idea of, okay, Scott Buteau drives this truck. Now, I was happy that at least when he drove El Toro Loco, that he had an identity for that truck, for El Toro Loco Ice, because that, in my opinion, differentiated himself from just driving El Toro Loco. But at the same time, I felt like he just started, I don't know, fading into the middle of the pack kind of drivers, if that makes sense. And again, I don't mean this in a derogatory way. I'm just saying that I felt like him moving to El Toro Loco wasn't really good for him, because his special finesse that made him so popular to begin with kind of just washed away. And I hate saying that, and it's really sucky to see. And another thing, Ryan, that you brought up about Lindsey Wink was, I agree with you on that too, in the sense that he was just at a point where there were, like, it was 2019, 2020, and this year, 3 years where we were just waiting, like, is he going to get re-signed? Is the truck coming back? Because at the end of 2018, people were starting to think, okay, the Lucas Oil contract's up. Are they going to renew it? Is he going to drive Lucas Oil? He came back for 2019. At the end of 2019, we were like, okay, is he going to come back? Is he going to come back? He was driving Lucas Oil Crusader again. And then this year, we were thinking the same, or last year, I should have said, we were thinking the same thing. Is he going to come back? And unfortunately, this time, he is, well, for Lucas Oil Crusader, he is not. And now that you guys bring it to my attention, I do think that he is going to drive something possibly in Feld. I cannot wait to see what that is. And, yeah, if you guys have any other things you want to add on, I remember I have one more news story to talk about, and then we can get into the thing that I think everyone wants to hear about, and that is Salt Lake City. But again, if you guys have anything to add on, the floor is yours. Other than that, we'll move on to the last news story for this podcast.
I just want to sort of elaborate onto one thing you were talking about with Scott Buteau, not necessarily about how he was losing his finesse or anything on that nature. I want to sort of elaborate as to why I think personally they put him, like Feld and Monster Jam has put him inside of El Toro Loco, behind the wheel of El Toro. I genuinely feel as if, and this is going to sound god-awful without context, but I genuinely feel as if Scott Buteau had a great connection with the kids. I feel as if, El Toro Loco is a very kid-friendly truck, very kid-oriented, very kid favorite. And to sort of just put him in there behind the wheel of the El Toro Loco truck, giving Scott Buteau, a man with as big of a personality as his, behind the truck with as big of a personality as that, just trying to create that mega personality. And I feel as if it was the right move for them to do that, but I do got to agree with you guys. He did start to lose a little bit of his finesse in there.
Ryan,
I also,
sorry.
yeah, I know you bring this up a lot, and I've been on the podcast many times, and I know you and I both talk about this, and I do want to add on to what you were saying. Whenever Jackson or I or anybody else comes on here and we're talking about a driver's performance, how they've been competing, what the future looks like, what their past experiences, we are not directing any of that towards them as a person. It's all performance standpoint. I can honestly say I don't think there's one driver in Monster Jam I hate. Not one. I love every single one. There's ones I love more than others, obviously. But I don't think I dislike a single driver in Monster Jam. So when Jackson and I was just adding on, it's not about any personal level or anything. We just love all the drivers, and it's all just performance standpoint. But with Lindsey Wink, I feel like there have been two trucks when we were growing up that have faded away, and I would love to see one of them come back. Monster Mutt, Blue Thunder, two trucks that started fading away. They put Tanner Root in Monster Mutt, and they have Matt Cody and Blue Thunder. I would love, they brought Kevin King for Monster Mutt there for a while. Put Lindsey Wink in Blue Thunder. Please, that would be so great. Bring Blue Thunder back to stadiums.
Well, something that would play into that, Ryan, is in the yearbook. As I told you guys before, there are a few trucks with blank spots. What I mean by that is trucks that do not have drivers. Funny enough, Ryan, Monster Mutt and Blue Thunder don't have a driver next to them. Now, I'm not suggesting that this is going to be the case, but I think the door is wide open considering that Monster Mutt and Blue Thunder don't have a definite driver, or as the yearbook says next to it, for 2021. I'm going to break away from this because I do want to get into the results, but very quickly, another thing I wanted to bring up is the broadcast team for NBC for 2021. Now, those would be wondering, say, what's so different about it? Well, I'm interested to see our team because returning is Scott Jordan, the new voice of Monster Jam, Leslie Mears, who is absolutely fantastic, and the talking point that everyone is about Colt Stevens. That's right, Colt Stevens is in Monster Jam. He's not driving a truck just yet. Hopefully he does, but for now, he is a commentator. Now, I haven't seen any previous experience for Colt in terms of hosting or commentating, mainly just hosting, I should say, since he's not a live Monster Jam host. I am very much looking forward to seeing what Colt can bring to the broadcasting table for 2021. You know, it's been a standpoint in recent years to have drivers on to give their thoughts on the action. And I think Colt Stevens is going to be a pretty good, I guess, color commentator, a second host to Scott Jordan. Scott Jordan works with lots of different drivers. As we've seen in the previous years, we've had Bryce Kenny, Morgan Kane, someone else. There's a whole lot of Scott Buteau's another one. They've had
Bari Musawa.
He's mixed with a lot of different drivers, and I think, me personally, the connection has worked really well. To see Colt Stevens be the main driver, second commentator for NBC Monster Jam, I'm looking forward to it. Now tell me, guys, what do you guys think? Are we excited to see Colt Stevens? And I don't want to just put the spotlight on Colt Stevens. What do we think of the rest of the broadcast team?
Can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with Scott Jordan and Leslie Mears. You can't. They are the dynamic duo of NBC Sports right now with Monster Jam. And I love to see them. And I was actually wondering if they were going to broadcast these shows coming up, and if they actually were so reliant on them happening that they were going to bring in camera crews, stuff like that. I am interested to see how Colt Stevens does. I don't know if this was new or not, but it caught my attention. I think he's bald now. I don't know if he was previously, but it looks good on him. I like it. But get it look good on that TV camera. But I'm really looking forward to Colt's input on everything, especially since I've hated how he's been bouncing around with that Brodozer team. It's like they've been kicking him to the side. He's the one showing up at pit parties, and then he doesn't drive the truck. I love that Colt is now having his own name, doing his own thing, and I'm looking forward to it.
Listen, I agree. Colt finally is getting his own role, and that's something he's deserved for a very, very long time. Colt Stevens really needs to do something more with himself, and not digging him as a personality, just sort of digging as to what they've been doing with him. He needed to do more, and to finally put him in that commentator spot, that host spot, if you will. It's going to be great. And to bring back Scott Jordan and Leslie Mears, it's going to be an interesting but fun sort of experiment, I guess, is really the word you could put for it. I know they've been doing it for 2020, 2019. But it's going to be really nice to see them out there. And to sort of elaborate on a point you made about how you were wondering if they were going to broadcast this, put this on TV, they did bring camera crew. The NBC camera crew, they were there. So I have a very high feeling that we're going to be able to see the show.
And I am thinking as well, too, that considering that we really only got a few shows lined up as of right now, really all we have, I'm going to speak of what's coming up in the next month or two. I'm not going to count San Antonio since that's all the way in July, but in terms of broadcasting things, Monster Jam is in need to broadcast things, and I don't think they're going to be able to go back to these other shows. So I think they're going to want to do as many of these as they can. And with that in mind, I think by having the TV camera crews record these shows, it's going to make good TV content. And considering too, since at least with what happened during COVID, they had the basic cameras that they used to put up the stuff on the screen. They used, I guess, I don't want to say recycled, but they reused that footage and turned it into an episode, which was good. And now, since we know that COVID's still a thing, that the pandemic still looms around, at least now we know that the camera crews are probably most likely going to be at all the shows we see lined up. And God forbid if a second wave happens or it gets serious, Monster Jam still has content to put out on NBC, I mean, because obviously we still have the membership, which is god tier. But nonetheless, we'll still have TV content to enjoy. And my point about this and the camera crews being at shows kind of leads fairly well into the results, the thing that everyone has been wanting to know about. So I'm going to read out the results from the Salt Lake City shows. I'm going to power through these, and then I'm going to ask for Ryan and Zach's opinion, and we're also going to look at something that is going to come into play for the podcast, which I'll announce when I get to it. So, let's begin. The results from Salt Lake...
Really quick. I'm sorry, Jackson, to cut you off here.
It's all good.
May I just mention that he sent us a little Word document about everything and about all these results. This is 16 pages worth of documents here. He's listed every single thing that's happened.
So strap yourselves in.
We always gotta tie it back in. Well, it's just so my hosts are prepared, and also so I remember, since when there's 5 shows and 16 different winners, bit of an exaggeration, I'm not going to remember this off by heart. So here we go. Show 1 at Salt Lake City, Utah for Vivint Arena on January 8th. In round 1 of racing, Jurassic Attack, David Olfert beating Megalodon, Adam Anderson. What an upset. To start off Salt Lake City, to start off driving his new truck, beating Adam Anderson. Pretty impressive. Obsessed defeated the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. Monster Energy defeated Devastator, and Troublemaker defeated Gravedigger. In the semifinals, Obsessed defeated Jurassic Attack, and Monster Energy defeated Troublemaker. Your racing winner was Todd LeDuc in Monster Energy. For the Great Clips Skills Challenge, your winner with a 9.662 is Gravedigger. Kristen Anderson, Devastator in 2nd, Megalodon in 3rd, Obsessed in 4th, Great Clips in 5th, Jurassic Attack in 6th, Troublemaker in 7th, and Monster Energy in 8th. Coming after the donut competition, your winner with a 9.582 was Adam Anderson in Megalodon. Great Clips, Mohawk Warrior in 2nd, Gravedigger in 3rd, Jurassic Attack in 4th, Devastator in 5th, Monster Energy in 6th, Troublemaker in 7th, and Obsessed in 8th. Your freestyle winner at this show was Todd LeDuc in Monster Energy. 2nd place was Great Clips, Mohawk Warrior, Obsessed in 3rd, Gravedigger in 4th, Devastator in 5th, Troublemaker in 6th, Jurassic Attack in 7th, and Megalodon did not complete the minimum amount of time. For those who are unaware, there is a certain time frame that drivers have to fill in order to receive a score. Adam Anderson did not do that, hence he gets 8th and no score. Your overall event champion starting out the weekend in Salt Lake City very impressively was Kristen Anderson in Gravedigger. Moving on to show number 2 in racing for round number 1, Troublemaker defeating Gravedigger, Monster Energy defeating Devastator, Great Clips defeating Megalodon, and Obsessed defeating Jurassic Attack. In the semifinals, Monster Energy defeated Troublemaker, and Great Clips Mohawk Warrior defeated Obsessed. In the finals, basically redoing what he did at the first show, Todd LeDuc and Monster Energy defeated the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. Taking skills was Kristen Anderson in Gravedigger with a 9.089. In 2nd place was Monster Energy. In 3rd was Megalodon. 4th was Obsessed. 5th was the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. 6th was Jurassic Attack. Troublemaker in 7th. And Devastator in 8th. The donut competition, making it 2 for 2. Megalodon is your winner with an 8.174. Jurassic Attack, surprisingly, in 2nd place. We'll talk about this when I finish the results, but man, what a weekend we had, and especially when we get to shows 3, 4, and 5. Jurassic Attack in 7th, Great Clips in 3rd, Gravedigger in 4th, Devastator in 5th, Obsessed in 6th, Troublemaker in 7th, and a disappointing result for Todd LeDuc and Monster Energy getting 8th. Your winner for the freestyle competition making his debut was David Alford in Jurassic Attack with a 9.018. Gravedigger in second, Great Clips in third, Megalodon in fourth, Troublemaker in fifth, Devastator in sixth, Obsessed in seventh, and Monster Energy did not compete. Your overall event champion for show number 2 was the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior with Bryce Kenny. Moving on to show number 3, Toddler Duke defeated Jurassic Attack, David Alford. Bryce Kenny defeated Travis Groth. In Troublemaker, Obsessed defeated Gravedigger, Megalodon defeated Devastator. Semi-finals, Monster Energy defeated the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior, and Megalodon defeated Obsessed. In the final round, Monster Energy, Toddler Duke, making it 3-for-3, defeated Megalodon. In the Skills Challenge, it was Monster Energy, Toddler Duke coming back with an 8.654. In second was Jurassic Attack, third was Megalodon, fourth was Gravedigger, Troublemaker in fifth, Great Clips in sixth, Devastator was seventh, and Obsessed was eighth. Winning the donut competition was David Alford again in Jurassic Attack. What a showing. That is very impressive from David. Gravedigger in second, Megalodon in third, Monster Energy in fourth, Great Clips in fifth, Troublemaker in sixth, Devastator in seventh, and Obsessed in eighth. Winning freestyle was David Alford in Jurassic Attack. Guys, this is insane. His weekend that he was having to come out and pretty much win against these other fell drivers, very impressive. Coming in second was Toddler Duke and Monster Energy. Great Clips Mohawk Warrior in third. Megalodon in fourth. Obsessed in fifth. Gravedigger in sixth. Devastator in seventh. And Troublemaker in eighth. Your overall event champion was Monster Energy, Toddler Duke. On to show number 4. We have 2 shows left. In round number 1, Devastator defeated Troublemaker. Monster Energy defeated Great Clips. Jurassic Attack defeated Obsessed. And a brother and sister rivalry ended with Adam Anderson defeating her sister, Kristen Anderson, in Gravedigger. In the semifinals, Monster Energy defeated Devastator, and Adam Anderson and Megalodon defeated Jurassic Attack. Snapping Toddler Duke's streak was Adam Anderson and Megalodon winning racing. In the Great Clips Skills Challenge, Kristen Anderson won yet again with an 246. Monster Energy in second, Megalodon in third, Great Clips in fourth, Jurassic Attack in fifth, Obsessed in sixth, Devastator in seventh, and Troublemaker in eighth. Taking donuts yet again was Megalodon, Adam Anderson with an 8.427. Jurassic Attack finishing in second, very impressive. Great Clips Mohawk Warrior in third, Gravedigger in fourth, Obsessed in fifth, Monster Energy in sixth, Troublemaker in seventh, and Devastator in eighth. Winning freestyle for the first time in Salt Lake for the weekend was Kristen Anderson and Gravedigger with an 7.872. My apologies, guys. I can't read. Megalodon in second, Jurassic Attack in third, Great Clips in fourth, Monster Energy in fifth, Obsessed in sixth, Troublemaker in seventh, and Devastator did not complete the minimum time, giving him eighth. Your overall event champion was Megalodon, Adam Anderson. And finally, oh boy, we're almost there, guys. Show number 5 in round 1, Gravedigger, Kristen Anderson defeated Obsessed, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior defeated Troublemaker, Megalodon defeated Jurassic Attack, Monster Energy defeated Devastator. Moving on to the semifinals, Great Clips defeated Gravedigger, and Megalodon defeated Toddler Duke. And the final round of racing for Salt Lake City in show number 5, it was Adam Anderson. Moving on to the Skills Challenge was Megalodon winning the Skills Challenge with the 7.871. Gravedigger in second, Monster Energy in third, Great Clips in fourth, Devastator in fifth, Obsessed in sixth, Troublemaker in seventh, and Jurassic Attack coming last, coming in 8th. Donut competition, Jurassic Attack, David Alford winning with an 8.875. Megalodon in 2nd, Monster Energy in 3rd, Great Clips in 4th, Gravedigger in 5th, Troublemaker in 6th, Obsessed in 7th, and Devastator in 8th. And finally, for freestyle, Jurassic Attack, David Alford taking yet another freestyle win. Monster Energy coming in 2nd, Megalodon coming in 3rd, Obsessed coming in 4th, Great Clips coming in 5th, Devastator coming in 6th, Troublemaker coming in 7th, and Gravedigger did not complete the minimum amount of time. And finally, for the results, your overall event champion was Adam Anderson and Megalodon. Whew, that was hard to run through. Now, this is where the other thing that I mentioned that we're going to, it's going to be a staple for the podcast, is going to come into play later. I'll put this up on screen soon. I'll take screenshots. I have made a Google Sheets spreadsheet for the results for each and every driver and each and every show for the year. We're going to go week by week in terms of Monster Jam action. We're going to update it. And I'm going to look at here because there are some results. David Alford had an impressive showing with a wins to losses ratio being 2-5. My phone's doing something. He won 2 donut wins. He had 3 freestyle wins, no overall event championships. Sorry, my microphone made a noise. That was weird. That scared me. Sorry. Anyway, a very impressive showing from David Alford. And before I hand it over to you guys, before I lose my breath, Toddler Duke had the most impressive racing streak, win-to-loss ratio. Guys, get ready for this number. 12 wins to 2 losses out of the 5 shows. That is insane. And Adam Anderson had the second best with a win-to-loss ratio being 8 wins to 4 losses. And overall, it was a very impressive showing. There were some highlights. You can check them out on Monster Jam Lord's channel. Reagan, a friend of the podcast. A very, very impressive showing from all drivers. It was great to see everyone put on a show, and I mean, everyone's going to talk about this at some point, and I may as well lead into you guys giving your opinions finally on the results. David Alford, going off. I mean, he's been driving in Monster Jam and Monster Trucks for a while now, but coming out, having finally his own identity, driving the Jurassic Attack truck, that is insane. I was super impressed, and I, as everyone would have, been a huge fan of the truck and his performance. So finally, let me hand it over to Zach and Ryan and ask you guys what you thought of the results from Salt Lake City, the first official stop for Monster Jam in 2021.
Firstly, may I just say, wow, what a weekend for monster trucks in general. Honestly, this is something everyone needed with the distractions and everything going on in the world right now. We needed this big distraction to sort of take us away from reality just for a brief moment in time, and really to come out with the monster truck show like that's incredible. Salt Lake City really knew how to be just a good arena for everyone. Secondly, I just need to say, expect the unexpected. Adam Anderson, the driver of Megalodon, formerly the driver of Taz, Gravedigger the Legend, all these iconic names, losing in the first round to Jurassic Attack? Are you kidding? How often could you say that? How often could you see that? That is just so nuts. And, you know, honestly, I'm so used to being around during a time period of Anderson's dominating that it's always going to just be nuts to me just to see any Anderson lose. And, you know, now that we have this brother versus sister rivalry going on here, it's so incredible. And Jurassic Attack winning donuts competitions, even freestyle competitions. What a weekend for the Jurassic Attack camp. Big weekend. And, you know, guys, I don't feel as if this is going to get brought up at any point later on here, so I might as well just bring it up now. It's nice to see the return of Devastator. honestly, I
Absolutely.
don't think it was a return we were expecting to see. I think this was a last second issue, if I recall correctly. I could be wrong, but it was very nice to see Devastator out there and on the track. Something you wouldn't expect to see in 2021 is the return of Devastator. So it was really cool to see him out there. He didn't do too much this weekend. He remained relatively low on the card, relatively low in terms of points, but still just the presence overall. But yeah, absolutely. It was a phenomenal weekend for everybody in general, and I think everyone's going to be the winners just simply based off the fact that they got to see a monster truck show, and for all the drivers out there, they just got to be in their monster truck, and I think that's what they wanted the most.
I would just like to not thank a single person in Salt Lake City for just being like, hey, I'm going to pull out my phone. I'm going to go on Facebook. I'm going to live stream this. Not one person in Salt Lake City. Anyway,
Thanks, Salt Lake.
but another thing. Thank you, Reagan, Washem Lord. I know you mentioned him earlier, Jackson. He's the man, dude. He
He's our
gets
Lord
that
and
great
Savior
footage.
for footage.
He's the Lord, the Monster Jam Lord. Yeah.
It's in his name.
Now it is. This whole weekend there was just so many things that were just brought up, either that I was not expecting or that I was expecting that I got let down. I'll start off from the earliest point. The lineup. When it first came out, I was very intrigued. I was interested to see how many independents they put in this lineup. I would have loved to replace Adam and put Ryan in. I think that would have been a better driver for the arena skill level that they have in there. One driver I really thought was going to have like this insane breakout that still had a really great weekend, Kristen Anderson. I thought this was going to be a huge announcement to everyone. Be like, yo, Kristen is here to show that she's an Anderson. She can prove her worth. I mean, I know I got Gravedigger the Legend up here, but don't get me started on Adam. He really has not been performing the way that I thought he would, and I thought this would be a great show for Kristen to push herself, not above Adam, but start working her way up in the ranks. Yeah, but David Olfert, man, I thought he was gonna have a good weekend, but I was not expecting the weekend that he had. I mean, I know we've all talked about it, but oh my gosh, he came out from the get-go ready to rock and roll. I loved how he performed. I loved how he competed with these top drivers in the sport, and he was just so calm about it. And I think he has a bright future in Monster Jam. And overall, the weekend was great. It was a great awakening to show how much work these drivers are going to have to put back to get back to 100%. And I think it was a good weekend to progress, get back to the level of Monster Jam where we were used to be at.
Absolutely, and it's so hard. I know we've kind of already been there, we've done that, but it's so hard to talk about Salt Lake City and not talk about David Olfert. In my personal opinion, that was David Olfert's show. That he stole the show completely. Like everyone, there were things like Devastator did cool jumps. I know that for skills, he hit one of the side jumps and he got a massive sky wheelie, and that was pretty impressive. And I know Todd LeDuc had a crazy save attempt, but honestly, and Chris, I got to bring up Kristen. Kristen did an amazing sky wheelie into a slat wheelie. With the level of control she had in that move was insane. But honestly, guys, the highlight of the show, in my opinion, was David Olfert in Jurassic Attack. What a weekend for the Team Throttle camp, who owns the Jurassic Attack truck. To just come out and see David put on a show, I was just amazed. And I don't think, to build onto what you said you weren't expecting him to have, you weren't expecting him to have such a good weekend. I didn't. He absolutely dominated. That was just insane. I loved every moment of it. Now, unfortunately, that is it for most of it. So before I close out today's episode, I'm going to leave it up to you guys to add on anything extra you may add. Or want to add, I should say.
Really, I don't think there's too much to it. It wasn't a big weekend in terms of news and all that stuff. However, I think it was more so just a big weekend of fun. This is everything, like I mentioned, this is everything we needed. We just needed a little break from reality, and we just really needed to come out here, watch a couple monster trucks throw down some awesome runs, donuts, wheelies, two-wheel skills, rather, my apologies, racing and freestyle. They just went out and they delivered. That's exactly what we all needed. And really, just thank you to all the drivers out there and to all the fans that went, because all the dedication is still there. And that's exactly what the world of monster trucks needs right now.
I agree. I think as many shows as Monster Jam can get in and start bringing in money, I think the more this sport is going to thrive and get back to going. But saying that, I think it's really just a test of time to see how and when we can get this going back again. I know me, I know everybody has that same feeling. It's like, oh, when is this pandemic ever going to end? And you start loosening up and you start going and hanging out with people and you start going out into public thinking it's just normal. But we got to stay disciplined because we're never going to get back to normal if we don't start listening to these people, which I know I'm not. I do not want to get political at all because I'm not one of those people. But we just need to. We need to listen. There are people studying this more than we are that know what they're talking about, and we need to follow that because I want Monster Jam to come back as soon as possible. And I think this weekend was just a great sense of normalcy that I think we all needed.
Absolutely. And I'm not gonna drag too long on about what you said, Ryan, but definitely, we really need to listen to what people have to say and all that jazz, and just do this because not only will we go back to a normal, whether it be the normal that we once were or a new normal, but importantly for us, we'll get to see Monster Jam back as it was, to a level where it's constant and exciting. Well, it's not that it's not exciting, but you know what I mean. It's at a level where it's constant and there's action every weekend, and it's just a good old time for everyone. So, yeah, but I like you said, I don't want to delve too much into it and talk about it too much. But unfortunately, this is the end of today's episode. So thank you everyone so much for listening. Remember, if you want to follow my social media, it's at Monster Jam Historian on Instagram and Monster Jam Historian on YouTube. You can also follow the official Weekly Monster Truck Podcast Instagram page at the weekly_podcast. Sorry. It is the Weekly MT Podcast on Instagram. Definitely know my tag. And for more places to listen on, you can check out the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, where I post the video versions. And if you want to listen to the podcast, so if you want to listen to it in the car or listen to it while you're doing chores or homework or whatever you want, you can check it out on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Radio Public. Now, I do want to say two other things before I let Ryan and Zach shout out whatever they want, as they normally do in weekly podcast tradition. Two extra things I want to talk about. Firstly, at the time of this video, I have not made my Facebook page for the podcast public yet, but there is going to be a public Facebook page that you can follow, which is going to have Monster Jam results and things about the podcast, and it's also going to be another place where you can ask questions for driver interviews when I do those, so make sure to check that out. At whatever stage it becomes public, I will link it in the comments and the description of the video, so make sure to check it out there. I'll also post it on my Instagram page, so you'll be able to follow it from there. Secondly, as I showed earlier, there is a spreadsheet of statistics for Monster Jam in 2021 that I will be doing, And unlike what I did last year, I am actually going to make this public. So you guys are going to be able to click the link, which will also be in the comments, in the description, where you guys are going to be able to read up on it every week. You'll be able to check back on it. It'll be down there. You'll be able to look at it and browse through it. I've color-coded everything, so you'll be able to tell the difference between who's driving what and what those things are. Again, link in the comments and link in the description down below. I'm really looking forward to updating it, especially making it public. So for those guys who want to stay up to date with the action, the racing records, the win to loss ratio, and how many points they've won, how many overalls, etc., check out that spreadsheet. Now that my things are out of the way, Zach or Ryan, is there anything that you guys would like to shout out or plug before we close off today's episode?
The only thing I guess I could sort of really plug is go check out the Drops Over Zero YouTube channel. There hasn't been much of anything posted there in years. Hopefully one day we'll get back into it, guys. Maybe hopefully soon even. But right now, just go check it out. Check out some older content of mine. There's probably a good video or two you could watch. I really recommend Scooby-Doo with theme. But there's also Scooby-Doo with theme. And if anyone's actually watching this who knows my channel, you'd get the reference.
I know Jackson and I have actually been talking a little bit about what we discuss all the time, what we want to do to help build the podcast and what we want to bring to the table new that other podcasts haven't been doing and stuff like that. And we do have some ideas up our sleeves for 2021 that we're looking forward to. But I actually, for anybody listening to this, we've talked to Jackson a little bit. We've discussed it. I want you guys, if any of you guys are listening, you can either reach Mosham Historian on Instagram, Ryan Zielsdorf on Instagram, the podcast on Instagram, whatever. Go to the DM and tell us what you want to hear us talk about. Because we could talk about Mosh Gym all day long. And we've been trying to find stuff that is interesting to you guys. So we want to know from you what you want to hear. And we'll take it in consideration. We can work with it because at the end of the day, we want to put out content that you'll enjoy. So go to the DMs, slide into those DMs, and tell us what you want to see, and Jackson and I will work with it.
Not sure I like the choice of wording of sliding into the DMs, but yes, absolutely. You get the gist of it. Yes, guys, please text us on Instagram what kind of content you guys want to see. I'm gonna have really. This has been something I've been contemplating. I want to limit the kinds of podcasts we do, but I still want to make it open. I want to at least have your guys' involvement of what kind of things you want to talk about, what kind of episodes, all that stuff. And I'm thinking of having a certain episode type that does that well and still incorporates the things that I want to do. If there is that kind of thing where I'll have to put more thought into it. Where I do that, again, the Facebook when it eventually goes public, and my Instagram and the podcast Instagram. But you get the gist of it. Please, if you have any suggestions for content ideas and things you want to talk about, please go check out or send us a message. Don't do what Ryan said, but don't do it the same.
Slide into my DMs.
Yes, don't slide into our DMs. Just text us. There's a text button.
Just casually walk into our DMs if you
that. You know
Yeah,
what?
don't
Zach,
aggressively.
Zach, that's a good way of wording it. Walk
just
into
casually,
our DMs.
have a nice
stroll into our DMs. Just
Yes.
hey, what's up? No, I'm kidding.
Put that on a t-shirt.
I'm sorry, my dance moves are really bad. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. It's great to have you guys back. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Ryan, for coming on the podcast. Stay tuned for more episode announcements, and I cannot wait to be getting back into the podcast game. Once again, thank you, everyone, so much for listening, and have a fantastic week. Goodbye, guys.
Bye, everyone. See ya.